I'm sure you've heard the news. Revolutionaries aren't always heroes. The French Revolution, a period of radical social and political upheaval in France, saw the rise and fall of many figures. Among them, Maximilien Robespierre stands out as one of the most polarizing. His name evokes both admiration and horror, depending on who you ask. But who was Robespierre, really? Was he a champion of the people or a tyrant in disguise? Let's dive into the dark side of Robespierre. Maximilien Robespierre. Remember that name. Born in Arras, France on May 6, 1758, Robespierre was the eldest of 4 children. His early life was marked by tragedy. His mother died when he was just 6 years old, and his father abandoned the family soon after. Despite these hardships, Robespierre excelled in his studies, showing a keen intellect and a passion for justice from a young age. Born in 1758, this lawyer-turned-revolutionary was one of the most influential figures of the French Revolution. After completing his education at the prestigious college of Louis le Grand in Paris, Robespierre pursued a career in law. He quickly gained a reputation as a skilled and principled lawyer, often defending the poor and oppressed. His legal career, however, was just the beginning of his journey. From his early days at the College of Louis le Grand in Paris to becoming a leading advocate for democratic reforms, Robespierre was all about the people. At Louis le Grand, he was exposed to the ideas of the Enlightenment, which would profoundly shape his worldview. He was particularly influenced by the works of Jean-Jacques Rousseau, whose ideas about democracy and the social contract resonated deeply with him. But what did he stand for? Robespierre's political philosophy was rooted in the belief that the government should serve the people and that all citizens should have a voice in how they are governed. He was a vocal critic of the absolute monarchy and the entrenched privileges of the aristocracy and clergy. His speeches and writings called for a society based on equality, justice, and the rule of law. Robespierre was deeply influenced by Enlightenment thinkers like Rousseau. He believed that the general will of the people should guide the actions of the government and that individual rights should be protected. These ideas were revolutionary in a time when the monarchy held absolute power and the common people had little say in their own governance. He believed in democracy, equality, and justice, and was a fierce critic of the monarchy. Robespierre's vision for France was one where all citizens, regardless of their social status, had equal rights and opportunities. He saw the monarchy as a corrupt and oppressive institution that needed to be dismantled for true democracy to flourish. He envisioned a just society where the rights of individuals were protected and corruption was eradicated. In his ideal republic, the government would be transparent and accountable to the people, and laws would be applied equally to all. This vision made him a popular figure among the common people, who saw him as a champion of their rights and a defender of justice. Sounds like a hero, right? Well, not so fast. While Robespierre's ideals were noble, his methods of achieving them were often ruthless. As the revolution progressed, he became increasingly convinced that extreme measures were necessary to protect the gains of the revolution and to root out its enemies. This conviction would lead him down a dark and bloody path. While he did play a huge role in establishing the French Republic and promoting revolutionary ideals, Robespierre's story has a dark chapter. As a member of the Committee of Public Safety, he wielded significant power and influence. He used this power to implement policies aimed at creating a republic of virtue, where citizens would be guided by moral principles and the common good. Enter the Reign of Terror. This period, from September 1793 to July 1794, was marked by mass executions and political purges. Robespierre and his allies believed that the revolution was under threat from both internal and external enemies, and they were determined to eliminate these threats by any means necessary. To defend the revolution, Robespierre and his allies resorted to extreme measures. They established revolutionary tribunals to try and execute those suspected of counter-revolutionary activities. The guillotine became a symbol of the revolution's relentless pursuit of justice, but it also became a tool of terror. Thousands of perceived enemies were executed, all in the name of preserving the Republic. The Reign of Terror claimed the lives of many, including former revolutionaries who were deemed insufficiently radical or loyal. The atmosphere of fear and suspicion permeated French society, and no one was safe from the reach of the revolutionary government. His actions led to significant suffering and loss of life. Families were torn apart and communities were devastated by the relentless cycle of accusations and executions. The very ideals of liberty and justice that Robespierre had championed seemed to be overshadowed by the bloodshed and repression. Robespierre's thirst for control eventually led to his downfall. As the reign of terror continued, opposition to Robespierre grew. Many began to see him as a tyrant who had betrayed the principles of the revolution. His uncompromising stance and refusal to tolerate dissent alienated even his former allies. In July 1794, his political rivals arrested him, and he faced the very guillotine he once championed. On July 27, 1794, Robespierre and his closest supporters were arrested by the National Convention. The following day, he was executed without trial, marking the end of the reign of terror and the beginning of a new phase in the revolution. Robespierre remains a controversial figure. Was he a hero or a villain? His legacy is a complex one, reflecting the dual nature of his actions and beliefs. On one hand, he was a visionary who fought for democratic principles and social justice. On the other hand, his willingness to use violence and repression to achieve his goals has left a dark stain on his memory. That's for history to decide. Historians continue to debate Robespierre's role in the French Revolution, and opinions about him remain divided. Some view him as a martyr who sacrificed himself for the greater good, while others see him as a dictator who let power corrupt his ideals. What is clear is that Robespierre's life and actions had a profound impact on the course of history. Like and subscribe to uncover more complex characters in history. Join us as we explore the lives of other historical figures who, like Robespierre, have left an indelible mark on the world. Whether they're remembered as heroes or villains, their stories offer valuable lessons about the complexities of human nature and the challenges of pursuing justice and equality.